The high costs of property taxes on Long Island could be reduced if some school districts would consolidate back office costs and healthcare premiums. That's the recommendation coming out tonight from a Suffolk County Commission of lawmakers and educators looking at ways to reduce school taxes. Suffolk Legislator Lou DeMauro, the chairman of the commission, says consolidation will bring taxpayers relief.
The report makes 25 recommendations to our school districts on ways to lower costs and expenses. Some of the larger recommendations include what we call functional consolidation, which would be not the consolidation of school districts themselves, but the consolidation of administrative functions and transportation functions within our school districts. The report also made a recommendation concerning health care. As health costs are going up, we're recommending that the school districts piggyback onto the Suffolk County healthcare system as a way of saving costs.
And have you looked at about how much you think you can save overall?
The cost savings will vary from district to district, and not every recommendation will fit every district. But just for example, with transportation alone, if we can do a regional type of transportation where districts are permitted to join together to bus children, we could save up to $29 million countywide. That's a substantial savings for Long Island taxpayers.
And would the schools notice the difference? Would there be any, backlog of paperwork if you combine services in the back offices?
No, in fact, it should become more efficient. One of the mandates of this commission was to not only come up with ways to cut expenses, but do so while retaining local control in our school districts and also making sure we do not affect the quality of the education delivered to our children or class sizes. So these would be efficiency measures that would actually save money and eliminate some of the layer upon layer of administrative functions that you have within our school districts.
Where does it go from here? Do you need legislative approval?
No, we do not need legislative approval for all the recommendations. Some of them would require approval up in Albany, and it's my intention to carry the report forward not only locally to our school districts, but also to our leaders up in Albany and the Long Island and Albany delegation and push for these changes in state law that we would need in order to implement these cost-saving measures here in Suffolk County.
And where specifically would you need approval?
You mean what recommendations?
Yeah.
Recommendations, well, for instance, on the transportation issue, we would need legislation out of Albany that would permit districts to join together to contract out for school bus services. Right now, they're only permitted to contract individually for busing services. So that's a change in state law that would be required before that recommendation could be adopted locally.
And what kind of reaction are you getting from the school districts?
Well, the school districts were at the table, and we've so far received a positive reaction. Today, the report is going to be formally released and then carried to each member of the school board here throughout Suffolk County in our school districts. And I'm anticipating the reaction so far has been good, and I'm anticipating that the school boards will embrace these recommendations because it is their peers talking to them. The school boards were represented through their association on this commission, and every recommendation of the commission was adopted unanimously. So this really is a report that's unique in that it carries a lot more weight and credibility than some efforts that have come before it.
Do you think taxpayers are going to see a real savings as a result of this?
I do. I anticipate, even if some of the recommendations are adopted, if we look at health care, if we look at transportation recommendations, if they're enacted and adopted, I think you will see a real savings in our school districts, which ultimately should stabilize property taxes or maybe bring them down, but hopefully stabilize them. And then we can take a further look at the tax caps and the other efforts that are going on out there currently.
Legislator DeMauro believes some of the recommendations can be implemented by the next school year.